Hello and a very warm welcome to WION World is One News. I am Raghavendra Rao and we have some breaking news coming in at this hour. 2 years after India and Pakistan suspended bilateral talks, Pakistan Army Chief has now backed talks with India to resolve disputes. While addressing cadets of the Pakistan Military Academy, General Qamar Javed Bajwa said that the two countries can resolve issues only through meaningful dialogue. Pakistan resorting to its old tricks, wanting the Kashmir issue back on the table. General Bajwa said that the core issue of Kashmir should be solved through comprehensive dialogue. But what's ironical is that even as the Pakistani Army Chief pushed for dialogue with India, he also issued a threat. General Bajwa said that Pakistan's desire for peace must not be construed as a sign of weakness. He went on to say that their armed forces are fully prepared to respond across the full spectrum of threat in a befitting manner. This is the big breaking story we are tracking for you at this hour. 2 years after India and Pakistan suspended bilateral talks, Pakistan Army Chief has now backed talks with India to resolve disputes. While addressing cadets of Pakistan Military Academy, General Qamar Javed Bajwa said that the two countries can resolve issues only through meaningful dialogue. General Bajwa said that the core issue of Kashmir should be solved through comprehensive dialogue. But what's ironical is that even as the Pakistani Army Chief pushed for dialogue with India, he also issued a threat. He said that Pakistan's desire for peace must not be construed as a sign of weakness. Joining me on the broadcast is Ravi Sahni. He's a security analyst. Good evening, Mr. Sahni. Again, the Pakistani Army Chief raking up the Kashmir issue, sir. What do you make of it?
I think Pakistan has realized that their aims, their other things lie exposed. And now they feel that they'll be better off if they try to pretend, at least if nothing else, that they are also wanting peace. And this offer which they are trying to make is a very conditional offer. It should be taken as such. The point is that even their so-called deeper in the sea and higher than the sky friend, China, probably would have cautioned them for not being, the way they have been conducting themselves in their neighborhood. So probably the chief wants to give out his, views about peace. But the point is, do they really want it, or is it just posturing? That is the point. Because the dialogue is very, welcome as far as India is concerned. But this is a very conditional dialogue. And to talk about a comprehensive dialogue, I think first we should talk about stopping the proxy war. They're desisting from sending the terrorists across to our territory. If they started doing that and then came about these extraordinary offers, they will be credible.
Absolutely. Also joining me on the broadcast is my colleague Molly Gambhir. She is joining me from the WION newsroom. Molly, we have heard familiar noises from Pakistan at some point or the other. Now, Pakistan has been upping the ante as far as the LOC is concerned. We have been witnessing a spate of ceasefire violations. Last year, in particular, saw a very, very turbulent year, so to say, for the Kashmir Valley. The number of ceasefire violations was over 800. This year, too, the escalation of this conflict has gone way beyond one could have really imagined. Now, in times like this, it sounds a little strange that the Pakistani Army Chief is talking about talks, and there, too, he lays down Kashmir as a condition.
Absolutely, Raghavendra. Let's just also take a step back and look at the tone and tenor that these statements always come in. Like you rightly pointed out, we've heard Pakistan make these voices earlier. We've heard them make these noises. We've heard them use the same words time and again. But what these words also accompany is Pakistan's deniability, Pakistan's embarrassment at the global stage. Is that the trigger for this latest statement that's coming in from General Bajwa? Remains to be seen. Also, Raghavendra, remember, we have been getting our viewers up to speed with the Bajwa Doctrine a few days ago as well. WION had reported extensively on what that doctrine is all about and how Pakistan seems to be pushed against the wall when it comes to each and every parameter that it has put forth when it comes to resolving the Kashmir issue, when it comes to a peaceful resolution. So, Raghavendra, these words, as we've been discussing, have been voiced by Pakistan again. These, of course, are coming at a time when Pakistan is feeling the pressure, to say the least. Also, when it comes to fueling terrorism, will this peaceful resolution also come with Pakistan's commitment of stopping to fuel terrorism in the Kashmir Valley and to actually ensure that it acts on its promises that it has made time and again when it comes to curtailing terrorism, when it comes to acting and uprooting terrorism? That remains to be seen. Also, Raghavendra, the tone and tenor that we've heard from Pakistan, earlier on as well, each time the Kashmir issue is rigged up at the international level, Pakistan being snubbed not by India but also by sections across the world who have seen through Pakistan's deniability and their duplicity when it comes to fomenting trouble.
Absolutely. Hold that thought, Molly. Also joining me on the broadcast is defense analyst Raj Qadian. Good evening, Mr. Qadian. Pakistani Army Chief talking about meaningful talks with India and in the same breath also talking about Kashmir, a desperate bid to get Kashmir back on the negotiating table.
Yeah, before one comments on the Pakistani Army Chief's statement, it needs to be reiterated that between two neighboring countries, peace is the only way forward. We have similar problems to focus on the domestic issues. To that extent, it is a good idea what Pakistan Army Chief has said. India has always maintained that we are willing for a dialogue, which is the only method to have peace with the neighbor. But India has also said that the dialogue cannot go on concurrently with terrorism and with the ongoing ceasefire violations. So Pakistan Army Chief making that statement, and this is not the first time, he has indicated something similar in the recent past, is only a surface statement and carries no meaning till Pakistan stops pushing in jihadists into the valley, carrying out regular terror attacks, and also keeps violating the ceasefire. India has said that you stop terrorism, stop these perfidies on the ceasefire, and let us sit and talk. That has been the India stand. I think there is no need to overreact to his statement, but India should continue hitting the terrorists like the security forces have been doing it in this, especially 2017 onwards, and we should keep strongly retaliating to every ceasefire violation. The statement coming from Pakistani Army Chief does indicate that Pakistan is not feeling the fatigue. India is a much bigger country. We have much more resilience to carry on with the tension along the border and handling the terror attacks. Pakistan had also in 2003 felt the fatigue and requested for a ceasefire.
Right.
I think that situation is reaching again. We should not relent. Our security forces must continue to maintain the pressure on the terrorists as well as on the ceasefire retaliation. And let us see what Pakistan, whether they want to have meaningful dialogue, they should stop these, create conditions which are conducive to a dialogue between the two neighbors.
Interesting thoughts, Mr. Qadian. Requesting you to stay on with us. Coming back to Molly. Molly, the fact that Pakistan has been under fire of sorts with the kind of response the Indian security and defense establishment has been giving to them, the fact that more than 200 terrorists were gunned down in Kashmir last year itself, the offensive, the ante against these terrorists and militants in the Kashmir Valley is on a never-before high. Are they really feeling the pinch? That is why they are talking about talks?
Certainly, and that pinch, Raghavendra, like I was mentioning earlier, coming not just through the regular snubbing that Pakistan has witnessed at international fora, but also through statements that have come in from players across the world who've been seeing through Pakistan's deniability and Pakistan's bluff. Remember the embarrassment that Pakistan has had to endure over the last few months when it comes to it being put on the global terror financing watchdog FATF's list, or be it United States also trying to threaten Pakistan that it will withdraw further civilian aid if it does not actually act on the several promises that it has made. Now, Pakistan has time and again used these words, Raghavendra, to actually try and extend an olive branch in as many words, try to say that it is willing for a peaceful resolution. But will that also come with Pakistan's commitment of stopping the ceasefire violations, of using those violations to actually foment trouble in Kashmir Valley and uprooting terrorism overall? Those are commitments that Pakistan needs to at least voice before it can talk about solving issues like Kashmir, before it can talk about a peaceful resolution. These are issues that have been discussed time and again, but Pakistan, of course, not understanding the language of proof, Raghavendra. Every time it has been snubbed by multiple statements, by evidence, be it the 26/11 Mumbai terror attack, be it the allegations that Pakistan's own men have faced for fomenting trouble. Right. They have, of course, not been able to, recuperate from the damage that the Pakistani establishment has had to endure on part of that proof, on part of those embarrassments. So certainly Pakistan feeling the heat. It's coming at a time when it is definitely being pushed against the wall through the embarrassment that it has faced at the global level, and trying to extend an olive branch, trying to say that it is ready for a peaceful resolution, certainly comes with no meaningful commitment unless Pakistan actually acts on the promises that it has made earlier as well.